what culture we live in, there are always traditions and rituals that play a large part in our lives. Over time, some of these rituals and traditions change to better fit current ideas and attitudes. Not surprisingly, this process is slower in some cultures than in others.
Lots of things affect the speed of change, including how old traditions are. Japan is a good example. Japanese culture is a product of centuries of attitudes and ideas that have been passed from generation to generation.
Since World War II, new ideas have influenced the political, social, and industrial makeup of Japan, but many of its core rituals have remained firmly rooted in tradition.
As you'll see in this next CNN report, this is particularly true for Japan's royal family.
For Japan, it was about time the crown prince picked a bride. 33 years old, an accomplished violin and viola player, a nature lover and mountain climber, he was still seen by some as, well, a bit of a nerd. His stint at Oxford may have parlayed a little more cool into his rep, but his thesis was on transport on the River Thames in the late 18th century. Not exactly a bestseller. The firstborn of the emperor and empress, he was raised by imperial standards in a modern way. His mother insisted she care for the children, a decided break from the past, one which caused her much grief with palace officials, some say to the point of a breakdown, but one which makes her relationship with the prince one of love and respect. Even before becoming crown prince, he was hounded to pick a bride, and the potential candidates, including Masako Owada, were hounded too. Many were scared off well before a news blackout was imposed by the press and life at the palace.
I think if I were the crown princess, I cannot go shopping or to see friends. The private life is very limited.
After much persuasion, his first choice all along said yes, setting into motion the train of traditional rites. First, the prime minister and the imperial household agency had to approve. Then Masako Owada and her family had to receive ceremonial gifts, 5 bolts of silk, 6 bottles of sake, and 2 sea breams from the Grand Master of the prince's household. Once she accepted the gifts, the prince informed the gods and the world officially that Masako Owada would be his bride and Japan's future empress.
For the crown prince, the choice was clear. But for Masako Owada, the media spotlight, the restricted life at court, a world she had never known, all this was frightening indeed.
From the moment the story broke, her life has not been her own. The press immediately camped out, capturing, analyzing, dissecting everything Masako-san, as they call her, does. But not much is really said. There is the official biography, the daughter of the highest-ranking diplomat in the land. She comes from a family who believes in service to country. She is the eldest of 3 girls. Her younger sisters are twins. She is highly educated and has lived with her family abroad much of her early years. She has degrees from Harvard and Oxford. She is fluent in 4 languages and was working in the foreign ministry, involved in delicate U.S.-Japanese trade negotiations. She was known as tough. Her co-worker and friend Naoko Ueda says she can also be a lot of fun.
She is both serious and hardworking and funny. So I think it's a very interesting and a wonderful mixture, and she's a very balanced person.
An interesting mix indeed. Her career ambitions and the secluded life in the palace, it is said, made Masako Owada turn the prince down twice. Perhaps it was her family's roots. They were samurais, literally meaning to serve. Perhaps, say her friends, it was also love.
Her sense of mission has not changed. It is still the same. It was not the only factor, and there are various factors, personal as well as professional factors.
Of course, deep friendship.
Yes. She was really, she grew deep friendship between with the crown prince, and that was one of the most important factors for her.
She told her friend to stress that fact. perhaps to offset the speculation that she was talked into the match. But it may be more likely a combination of all these factors. Service, the ultimate ambassador's job that she was convinced could go along with life at the court, and the love and support of the prince. At their press conference together, she said she accepted with these words, "I will work hard to make your highness happy," she said, "and also be able to look back on my life and think it was a good life." The fact that she can even talk of her own happiness may horrify some at court, but it shows she is likely to be a thoroughly modern princess. Eileen O'Connor, CNN, Tokyo.
Crown Prince Naruhito and Masako Owada were married on June 9, 1993. Since that time, the independent, well-educated princess has rarely been seen in public without the prince.
It still remains to be seen if Princess Masako will choose to break with tradition and become a thoroughly modern princess.